Learn from an attorney the best ways to prepare for and handle back to school bullying. Kids, get your parents. They need to see this. Hi, I'm Stacey Storino, an attorney since 1998, certified life coach since 2015, and the leader in legal coaching that turns people into effective advocates for themselves and their loved ones when they're bullied, special needs, or both. Woman 101 stands for wisdom that turns victims into victors. Now, let's get down to the best ways to prepare for and handle the possibility of back-to-school bullying. Look, I've done a video about 10 things that you should do if you're the victim of cyberbullying. And that is totally worth your time to watch. But right now, what do I, as a litigator with nearly 2 decades of experience, recommend that you do, either directly as a victim of bullying or cyberbullying yourself, or on behalf of your child if they are the victim of bullying or cyberbullying? And it's back to school time? First, be prepared for the possibility that bullying will rear its ugly head and have a new attitude. If someone's going to bully you, then set the tone straight from the first instance onward, making it clear that you're not going to take it. You're not going to knuckle under. Not this time, not anymore. But you're not going to lash back either. You're not going to hit back or anything like that. I've put out a video about what not to do and why you shouldn't do it. So you should check that out too. But right now, if you're the subject of intense bullying, once you're back to school, you're going to A, get away to safety, and B, tell an adult ASAP. If that first adult you tell doesn't listen, then you're going to keep telling other adults until someone does. So let's say the teacher doesn't listen and you've been bullied in class. So what? They're a jerk. Next, when you can, get to the principal and tell him or her. In fact, if the teacher is really putting you off, calmly tell the teacher that if they rebuff you, you've been told that you should go to the principal's office to tell them about the incident. And you want to call your parents after that. And what if you feel that the principal's not especially helpful? Next, call your parents or guardians. You have to let them know, I'm one attorney who's happy through my system, the enemy remedy, to help the ones who love you shut down the stupidity once and for all. But the idea is you're not going to be an easy mark anymore. This school year is going to be different. This is where you stand up for yourself. If you feel the kids don't like you, guess what? You can't change how they feel, but you can change how you feel about yourself, and you can change the outcome of a situation by reporting the abuse. Second, remember, the younger a victim and their bullies are, the easier it is for the bully or bullies to be immature and not very empathetic. Prepare yourself for this. Hopefully it gets easier as everyone gets older. Young kids especially are not empathetic and will not hesitate to lash out if someone is going for a book or some supplies that they're working with or even near. They'll refuse to let another kid sit near them, etc. So it's important to remind yourself, if you're the victim, or for the parent or guardian to remind the child otherwise, that immaturity is a large factor in terms of what's going on here. But you have to ask yourself, is it bullying or is it just immaturity? It depends. The top 4 factors that otherwise are involved in what is likely to make a victim happens to be the subject of another video that I've done. So so be sure to check that out. I've also done yet another video about whether an incident is bullying or is horseplay or just otherwise immature and inappropriate. Sometimes something unfortunate happens, but it doesn't rise to the level of bullying. But when the incident involves an imbalance of social power between the parties and deliberate, severe, and repeated acts are involved, yes, you're likely dealing with bullying. And guess what? Many states in America allow for orders of protection against kids as young as 8 to 10 years old. That's done for a reason, because bullies really can exist that young and can do a lot of damage. So don't just wave things away when you're told about bullying because you're young or your kid is young. Seriously, bullying can and often does start when kids are young, and it can be severe earlier than you'd ever think it could be. That's why the laws are the way they are from state to state. Get it? Third, remember that crying, yelling, hitting back, or otherwise having huge emotional responses to bullying, for whatever the reason, can make the victim more of a target. So, victims should report abuse to the nearest adult as soon as it's a safe environment to do so. But they need to do it in as cool, calm, and collected a manner as possible. And yes, if the teacher or whomever they first report the abuse to doesn't do much of anything, they should move on to the principal, and they should always tell their parents or guardians. Again, kids keep telling until someone listens, but do it without huge emotional reactions while you're in school, if it's at all possible. You can emotionally detox with your loved ones later, and that's okay for you to do. Honestly, of course, if someone has physically harmed you and or sexually harassed you or worse, tell immediately and make a fuss in that case. If you suffered serious bodily injury and or been sexually harassed or raped, the police must be called. I mean it. I'm a lawyer. I mean it. Anything short of that, though, keep yourself under control as you and the appropriate adults get the situation itself under control. So, if the bullying is nasty, but not physical, or you haven't suffered serious bodily injury, if you're the victim, hug your arms around yourself tightly to keep yourself from lashing out and adding more negativity to the situation. Shrug and walk away to tell an adult when it's quiet, and you can do it safely and privately. How else can you make the back to school season better? Keep in mind, children who have at least one or two good friends are less likely to be bullied. So kids, make sure you reach out to those friends of yours, no matter how many or few you currently have. It's good to vent, but of course, it's good to have a good time as much as possible too. Balance out the negativity with positivity. So, parents and guardians, whatever you have to do to facilitate that, do it. It's so important. What kind of response do you give a bully? Either nothing and walk away to safety, or, this is always good to do, just tell them to stop it, period. Then again, get away to safety. If you're trapped at a seat nearby the bully, ignore them until the end of class. Then speak to the teacher and ask to have your seat moved. You're not a martyr. Don't just sit there and take it. If the teacher won't help, remember, go to the principal next. And make sure to call your parents and or tell them as soon as you're home. You do not have to sit next to a bully in class and just take it. That's nonsense. Your parents or guardians may have to get involved, but I can walk them through that, both through my Woman 101 YouTube channels, videos, and or with my program, The Enemy Remedy, which has all sorts of tips, tricks, hacks, swipe files, templates, and more to do as much of the heavy lifting for them possible. The Woman 101 YouTube channel is stocked with solutions for parents and kids alike. Solutions that work and have been road tested by an attorney and her clients for decades. So go to the channel, subscribe, and soak it all in. You've come to the right place. Gaining a support system that exists both on the school campus and off of it can keep a bullied kid safer. And when all else fails, it's time to call in the cavalry, meaning having at least one adult who can serve as your advocate with the school system. And if need be, the police and the court system. You can't ignore bullying. It won't go away. Every study and survey shows that avoidance has no upside when it comes to bullying. And I've got a system called the Enemy Remedy that can help you or the ones who love you out big time. So make sure you check out the link down below in this video show notes for more details. I would love to hear from you. Are you worried about going back to school? And if so, what do you think about this advice? Share down below and let's have all of the Woman 101 Wise Owls love up on you and give you support. And if you like this content, please remember to support me on Patreon so I can keep providing new material on a regular basis to help victims of bullying everywhere. Remember, Woman 101 stands for wisdom, turning victims into victors. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video and share this with anyone you know who could use some support. Woman 101, be wise with your heart.